Great, great. Good afternoon. Welcome here. Welcome to our Facebook audience and welcome to our Instagram live audience also. My second time having to do this on Instagram. My second time having to do this on Facebook Live. Typically, I do this live on YouTube, but it seems like there's a way to get the benefit of both three systems. I can easily load this on YouTube after we're done. I can't, with the system I use, I can't do live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I'm going to have to leave with doing this live on Facebook and on Instagram. And when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and load it on YouTube. That way I can get the benefit of the three systems. We did the first time here on Facebook and on Instagram last week, and I'm kind of want to stick with that. So here we are back on Facebook, back on Instagram, and we'll be on YouTube as soon as we're done. So welcome to another time to do this. Welcome to the book club with me. That's what I got to do on Sunday afternoons. And right now we're starting the sixth featured book in the series of our book club, and it's The Good Life by Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. Right, that's what we're studying right now, and this is gonna be our third time, in chapter 1, and we still probably have 2 or more sessions to go in chapter 1. Like I kind of say all the time, we're not in a hurry. This is not about checking the box. It's not about how many books we get to read. We've been doing this since 2021, and we're only just on our 6th book, right? And we're not in a hurry. We're not going anywhere in a hurry. The last book we took 8 months to go through. This is looking like it's going to be more than 8 months to go through, but we'll give it all that it takes to get there. So welcome to another time here. So I'm going to bring up my slide here, and we're going to take a shot at it. What we started doing last week, we started discussing on what is your greatest fear, right? That's what we're talking about last week, and we didn't finish it. We're going to finish it today, God willing, and we'll go ahead next week with the other part of chapter 1. So let me go ahead and bring this, maybe just for those who don't know about the book. It's about what it takes to live a happy life. It's about living a happy life, a happy, fulfilled life. And the conclusion Robert comes to is that it takes having a quality relationship. If you're going to have a good life, you need quality relationship to have a good life. So that's where we're heading towards, right? That's what we're gonna be in and heading towards, right? That for you to have a good life, for you to have a happy life, you need to have a good relationship. You need to have a good relationship with your God or whatever it is in your life that's bigger than you. You have to go have a good relationship with yourself, and you have a good relationship with others, right? That's why we're here, right? The essence of life. The essence of life is to live a happy life. You're not living a happy life, you are not living the essence of your being. Don't let anyone deceive you. Happiness is not something to be forgone, right? Happiness is one that you need to design both for your today and your tomorrow. If you're not designing happiness in your life, you're not living a happy life, you're not living a fulfilled life. You're living another person's life, not your own life. But we'll talk more. Let's go ahead and bring up the slides here and we'll discuss. So it's a good life. That's what we've been discussing, and this is the book again. And those are the 2 authors of the book, Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz, right? And go. That's what the question we're answering. We started last week. The second part on the question: what is your greatest fear? What is your greatest fear? Because your greatest fear is that which will hold you back from living a fulfilled life, from living a happy life, right? If you don't overcome your fear will overcome you, right? There's no middle ground. If you don't overcome your fear will overcome you, and it become a stumbling block in your in your path to having a fulfilled life, in your path to having a life of purpose, right? Because a life of purpose is a life of fulfillment. It's a happy life. The purpose of life is to be happy. The purpose of life is to be fulfilled. The purpose of life is to live the essence of your creation. The purpose of life is to live the highest, expression, of all God has created you to be, right? So fear is your enemy on this in this quest. Love and faith are your friends in this quest, right? Let's go on. So last week we talked about the first 8 of the 10 fears we're trying to look at here. One of those we spoke about is the fear of failure. The fear of failure. This is the biggest fear as far people not succeeding in life. Like I shared last week, Jim Rohn would say that people don't succeed in life because they don't even show up. It's not as if they come and try and they fail. A good percentage, probably 80% of people that fail because they don't even show up. They give every excuse not to show up. They give every excuse not to try. Oh, Nigeria is bad. I'm not applying because it is rigged. If I apply, they will not call me. Oh, they already know who they want to call. What's the use of applying? They give all the excuses you can ever think of. And that's why their lot is not better. Their lot is not better. When I got employed where I'm employed, they needed 4 people, right? 4 people. Later on, they added 2, but they needed 4 people. Out of the thousands that came for the interview, I was one of the 4. And I did not know anybody there, to say, if there was a place I was supposed to have been employed, it was another company where my father retired from, but not this one, where I really didn't know anybody, right? I could have as well given the excuse. Oh, I don't know anybody. Oh, they will not take me. 1,000, look at 1,000 people going for interview. How would they select me? Oh, they already know the people they want to take. And I will not be at work where I've worked now 27 years. This is my 27th year on the job. At that same time, I was attending several interviews in another company, and I was always getting to the final stage, but not getting taken. I could have given up. Thank God I did not. Thank God. But the same is true of you. You don't have to give up. If you know what you want, go for it and continue going for it until you get it. Don't let any excuse take you away from it. Don't let any excuse take you away from showing up. Showing up is your part. Getting it is God's. Show up, do your part. So we also spoke about the fear of success. That's a strange one. Fear of failure is easily understandable, but fear of success also exists because someone is fearing, if I succeed, will I like who I become? If I succeed, what if I lose it? If I succeed, will my friends still like me? Will my neighborhood still like me? So they are so taken away by the opportunity cost of succeeding that they fear succeeding. And their lot is no better. They are living their lives for other people rather than for themselves. Let that not be your lot. Right? There's also the fear of loss. And I gave an example, of one of my burros, who could not take the loss of her sister. And she mourned so much, she became paralyzed. Right? All her life stopped and went backwards. Loss is an inevitable part of life. Whether it be loss of a person, whether it be loss of things, is an inevitable part of life. Therefore, it should not win over you. It should not destabilize your life. If you lose something, it is expected. It is part of life. So you need to prepare your mind for that inevitability. Your parents will die one day if they have not died yet. Your siblings will die one day if they have not died yet. People you love will die one day if they have not died yet. People you don't love will die one day if they have not died yet. It's an inevitability of life. Therefore, it should not defeat you. You should prepare your mind for that which is inevitable and live over it, rise over it. Don't stay on that, rise over it. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good life. Right? I have one of my goddaughter who is struggling through that in life. She's scared of what will happen to her if she loses what she's holding so precious. But it's getting her into depression. Right? Depression is as good as a spell of death. But so she's at that place where she needs to make a decision. But only she can make that decision, because she then needs to be ready for what it takes to make that decision. But whatsoever decision she makes, so long as she's the one making it, she'll do well. But indecision is a decision on its own. And indecision will not bless you. Right? Let's move on. All right. We also talked about the fear of being judged, right? And this naturally affects those who are already shy, or in a sense affects introverts more than it will affect extroverts. Why? Because introverts are deep thinkers and they tend to second guess themselves. So it's easy on them. However, it is not a spell of death. You can rise above it. You can rise above it. You can rise above it. You just need to know what to focus on, right? If you focus on the positive, not the negative, because whatsoever you focus on will become big, magnifies in your eye. Whatever it is that you focus on will magnify, right? A small thing you focus on, it can become a giant monster that will stop you in your path of progress. People will always judge. You can do nothing about that. So that should not be your focus. It should not take your attention. Yeah, you're not here to impress people. You are here to express the fullness, the fullness expression of all God has made you to be. It's not about what people have to say. It's about what you have to express, what you have to do. Align the light that's on the inside of you to shine. It's about you coming on the stage and owning the stage, owning whatever it is that you do, and just doing it, irrespective of what people have to say. My pastor at Houston, Joel Austin, says there are always going to be three types of people: people that love you, people that don't love you, and people who could not be bothered about what you do or not do. Those three people will always exist, right? Express yourself to the people that love you, right? The other two will always exist. Sometimes those that don't care, some of them will be one to one of the two sides, but you can't control that. All you can control is yourself. You're not here to please anybody. You're not here to impress anybody. You're here to be. You're here to be. That's why we're human beings, not human impressions. Human beings. Be human. Hone your life. Hone whatever it is that you do. Be good at it and go do your thing, right? A fear of losing our identity, is another fear that people get into, and typically that comes from it comes from a crisis period, right? When something might have happened to one, so I just want to be sure. Yeah. So it comes when you're not able to, typically it's a crisis. It also comes when you're not able to have a right linkage to who you used to be, who you are, and who you want to be, who you're growing to be. And like I said, it plagues a lot of Black Americans because they have issues tracing their ancestry, right? Easy to say the ancestry is Africa, but Africa is a continent, not a nation. So which nation, which tribe, which dialect in Africa? That for some people might create an identity crisis of its own. There was a time in my life, having gone through a rough period of time, I needed that. I was like losing my identity also. I had to one time go to the place where I lived most of my preteen years, just to get that reality back into my head. Sometimes that's why people bleed, cut themselves, they want to feel pain, because there are times when you just been through a whole lot of overthinking things that you lose the sense of who you are. You've been through pain that, you lose the sense of who you are. And sometimes you need to get back to your roots, get back to something you can hold, and from there begin to build your wings to fly, to soar, to rise in life, and sometimes it helps to be able to tie to something that tells you where you're coming from. You didn't just drop into this place, right? And for me, it was, I went around the neighborhood I'd grown up, kind of brought some fresh memory into my head. Today, I'm connected with a lot of things from my past, connected with people from my elementary school, connected to people from my secondary school, connected to people from my university days, and that helps me. It gives me root. And from there, I can fly, right? I can face the enemy at the gate, knowing that I did not just drop here, but I live, I grew, I evolved. There's foundation where I'm coming from. I have a foundation, a strong foundation, that gives me rooting and gives me a place where I can develop my wings to fly, to soar in life, so that can help you, but if you don't have any of that, just get comfortable, confident in who you are today, right? Not being able to tire of that should not make you a prisoner. Whatever it is that you are today, build from there. Be comfortable in yourself, be comfortable under your own skin, and that's important if you want to live a good life. We also spoke about the fear of who you truly are, right? And this is one of the social anxiety fears. It could also be tied to what we call the imposter syndrome. You've grown and you're being given responsibility, and you begin to doubt if you are qualified to do it. Begin to doubt that how you got to where you got to. Again, you need to rise above all of that. Get out of that place that is trying to suffocate you, right? And go breathe fresh air. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And be comfortable under your own skin, right? Don't let pressure, don't let demonic spirit, don't let witches, make you or suffocate you. You are who you are, and you deserve what you have, right? You are qualified. You are qualified. You're no imposter. You are qualified, right? Whatever it is that you've been given to you, whatever task position you have, you are qualified. You have what it takes. You are enough. You are enough. You are capable, of doing it. All right, was this the last fear? No, it wasn't. No, it was the last fear we looked at last week. We looked at the fear of losing control, and this is one where, when people micromanage, micromanaging is not a skill. Micromanaging is not positive. Micromanaging is because the person lacks control in him or herself. Only people who lack control in him or themselves, or who don't trust themselves, micromanage. Micromanage is not positive. It's not of God either, right? So if you see someone micromanaging, that person is like good manager, right? A good manager does not micromanage. One who is in control of his or their life do not micromanage. Those who micromanage are carrying their lack of control the lack of congruency in their own life and rubbing it on others, right? So life is not meant to be controlled 100%. We're all humans. There's only so much we can control. Yes, it's good to control some, but seeking to control everything, it's saying to the universe, saying to nature that you don't need them. You don't need God, that you are the God over your life, that without you, things don't move in your life. So not trusting God, not trusting in grace is that place where you seek control of every little thing, right? That no matter what you control, there will always be things you can't control. There'll be things outside your control. There'll be things you can control that can't even get to by reason of space, time, So life is about doing your best and leaving the rest to God. Doing your best and trusting others to do their own, right? Trust others to do their own while you do your own. Trust that everything will work together. Trust God, trust the hand of nature, trust the hand of destiny, that things will come together. Not just because you did it, but just that you did your own part. And as everyone does their own part, things will fall together, right? So today will be the one we didn't take last week, which is the fear of time, right? It's called chronophobia or prison neurosis. Another popular word for it is hurry sickness. You're always in a hurry, right? Ever since I studied this years ago, I killed hurry in my life. Everything that I'm doing, I ensure hurry does not have a place for it, right? If I'm preparing, like I'm preparing for today, even though I was running out of time, I refuse to hurry. I refuse to be anxious. I refuse to be perturbed. I refuse to be disorganized, right? Because what hurry comes to do is to disorganize you, is to kill your ability to listen to the still small voice. Is to kill your ability to listen to your intuition. And for as long as you're not listening to your intuition, you're not making the best of the gift that is you. The gift that is you is your ability to listen to your inner voice, listen to your intuition, right? But hurry kills that, right? Fear kills that. You are then not able to bring your best self to the marketplace. You're not able to bring your best self to the world. You're not be able to bring your best self to do the things that concern your life, to move your life forward, right? So don't let time get in your way. Whatever you need to do, just do your best and leave the rest. My experience, everything I'm about to prepare for, once I've done my best, I always have more than I need for that occasion. More than I need for that occasion. And the confidence with which I go, the rest with which I go, the peace with which I go gives the power to what I am doing, right? So that's important. Don't let hurry kill you. Don't let hurry disorganize you. Don't let hurry steal from you. Rise above hurry. Rise above the fear of time not being enough. Make use of what you have. And what you have is always going to be enough for the tasks ahead of you. Life will not present to you that which you cannot handle. Life will give you what you have strength for, ability for, right? So trust in time, trust in nature, trust in God, trust in yourself, right? So another fear, which is the ninth fear, is a fear of the unknown, or what we call the fear of the known, or fear of change, or fear of uncertainty, right? So it's similar to the first one, but it's more in terms of not as much as it relates to others, but as much as it relates to yourself and information. And this will eat again on introverts a lot. And that is because of just who we are, right? Because as an introvert, you're a deep thinker, and typically we need information to process things by. And when we don't get information, we kind of become disorganized. We don't know how to put data together to predict or be ready for what we are going into. that can easily disorganize an introvert, right? That we should not be a prisoner of our personality. We should not be a prisoner of our supposed nature. We need to always rise above, be responsible, be proactive, right? Rise above, be task oriented, right? Be objective oriented, right? And go for it, right? Don't give excuses, right? So if we have information, so good. If I don't have information, so be it. I work with what I have, as I go through life, right? So there's this other quote here by Calamari. It says, when we choose to create a change, such as moving to a new home or shifting jobs, the summary is just the fact that, when change hits us, we are scared of change having a upper hand of us, but we don't have to wait for change to eat us, right? We can change of our own volition. We can stay ahead of the curve and continue to evolve, pivot, right? Continue to pivot, and be ahead of the game. Don't let change force us to move. Let's move before we're forced to move, right? So let's pivot as we get the information from the environment. We understand the threats, the opportunities in the environment. Let's make the right adjustment before we are forced to, right? That's one way of overcoming this fear. So we're wired to fear change. So we should not allow change to use us, but we can use change. We can stay ahead of change, right? So the last fear we're going to look at is a fear of what is next. This is typically a fear that plagues the intelligent people. People that are not that intelligent don't plan for the future, right? But people that are intelligent tend to stay ahead of the game and plan for the future. And when that future is seemingly not having the base or foundation that they need for it, can turn into anxiety, so much so they go into what we call panic attack, because as they are planning for the future, they're doing that with fear, and that fear makes them to lose their breath, and losing their breath for some seconds is the physical manifestation of a panic attack, because you are fearing danger, you're seeing demons on your path, and that kind of destabilizes you. We need to rise above that. You must always approach life out of faith, not fear. Irrespective of what you think the future might be, you should always reframe it, always reframe it, frame it in a way that empowers you. Always frame it in a way that empowers you. What we typically would say is that don't believe any prophecy that does not empower you, irrespective of who is the person saying it or what the person is saying. Never believe a prophecy that does not empower you, because you are the one that has the power over your life, not some false prophet, not some half-drunk person. Right? You have the power over your life. Don't give it to another. Whatever prophecy does not empower you, don't give place to it. Don't give place to it in your life. You don't open a door to it, right? You have the right to frame your future. You have the right to frame your present. That is what God has given to you. That's why God calls us God, howbeit small God. We're created in the image and likeness of God. Only that which we allow has power over our lives, right? So you can control the gates. You can hold back the gate and not allow anxiety, fear, come and lay hold of you, right? So quick one look at how this appears in our life. If you have some of these and you don't know, you can't recognize it in your life. One of the ways you would see is you avoid it. You avoid responsibility. When you avoid responsibility, there's a fear factor that's driving you. And you need to look into that and not allow it deprive you of life. When you begin to procrastinate, there's a fear factor, right, that's involved to procrastinate. Faith does not procrastinate. Love does not procrastinate. Perfectionism, you're trying to get everything right. Oh, yeah, that's fear, right? So don't give it place in your life. When you're always quitting, you're not staying to the hand, that's fear. When you're always self-sabotaging yourself, you're always finding a way to make the things you're doing not to work, making the blocks to fall off and not to stay. That is fear. Self-destructiveness also, when you're destroying yourself, you're becoming your own enemy, right? That only is done by fear. Only fear will bring you to that position, right? So what to do about it, like we've said severally in this discussion, one of the things we can do about it is to reframe, right? We can reframe the situation, right? Say it in a way that empowers you. See good coming out of anything that is happening in your life. Any encounter that's happening in your life, see good coming out of it. See the good, because there's good in it. No matter how bad it is, there's good in it. So see the good that is coming out of the seeming bad, helpless situation. See the good. You can reframe that. It is you have the right and you have the power to do it. Only you can tell your story, right? Your interpretation of events in your life. And that's what will make a difference for you. It's your story that heaven hears. It's your story that the universe hears. It's your story that nature blesses. Your story that God says yes to. So what story are you saying about your life? What story are you saying about your today? What story are you saying about your tomorrow? That is what will come to pass in your life. So you are the creator, you are the determinant of your happy today and your happy tomorrow, right? The other thing is, if there's something to be done, do it. Your procrastination will only keep the fear alive. The way to conquer fear is to go out and do what you need to do, what you can do. For as long as you're procrastinating, for as long as you're crying, staying indoors, you're only giving power to the fear. Do what you can do and see what you can do come to pass, right? Sometimes it helps to keep a journal. Our mind is not for retention. Our mind is for thinking, analyzing, and making decisions. Sometimes it helps to free the mind of the need to recollect. That's why we journal. Another reason why we journal is that it forces us to think. As we write about the event, we're able to think about it in a rational way and see things clearly, not the oblique picture that we're getting when everything is crowded in our head over a short period of time, right? Another thing that helps is reflecting, right? When we think backwards, 2020 eye vision is backwards. You're able to learn from the things that happened backwards yesterday. Then that wisdom you're able to then use in your today and your tomorrow, right? You need to maybe sometimes find out the reason why you have that fear. When did that fear start in your life? What were the events that took place that brought that fear into your life? You lost something happened to you, then you can then begin to address the demon in your life so that you can overcome it, right? Like Carl Jung would say, that fate, there's nothing like fate, nothing like destiny, that this must happen to you or that. It's all about you not understanding the invisible or the unconscious, and the unconscious then plays a trick at you. So it helps me to understand that the unconscious drives in my life, the unconscious inclinations in my life that seem to be pushing me one way or the other. Then I can make corrections if it's pushing me in the wrong way, right? It helps also to be able to visualize success, because whatsoever you see is what you are drawn to. Whatsoever you see becomes bigger and becomes a giant or demon in your life. So if you visualize success, then we are drawn to success. It's a law of attraction, which we also call the law of visualization, right? Also take care of yourself. The more we take care of ourselves, exercise, eat well, sleep well, then we're able to think well, So that's important in helping overcome fear. Self-awareness, know who you are, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, because only until you do that, you cannot then address the opportunities and the threats that are surrounding you. So it helps to be aware of who am I, what moves me, what shakes me, what motivates me, so that helps. Also be gentle on yourself, right? That's important. If you can be gentle on yourself, that's important also. It helps to be gentle on yourself, So the other part here, just more things talking about fear as we try and close this today. Fear is a part of life. Matthew Toller says fear is a part of life. Everyone has it. Everyone has fear, and no amount of money or fame removes it. Because whether you're millionaire, billionaire doesn't mean that fear will knock on your door. You're a bishop, archbishop, prophet, or whatever, doesn't mean your fear will knock on your door. Fear knocks on everyone's door. What you do about it is what's important, right? It's not the fear, it's what you do about it that's important, And as Matthew Turner would say, but those at the top never let fear do their talking, whereas those at the beginning of their journey often do. Don't let fear determine your life. Don't let fear have the upper talk over your life, right? Talk to your mountain, talk to your fear, talk to your demon, and put them in their place, right? So don't disregard nor deny your fear. That does not help. Accept them, challenge them, walk through and in spite of them, right? There is treasure in the eye of a storm, right? It's about walking through it. It's not running from it. Gabriel Bestan says, I can think my way out of fear, right? If you can think, you'll find that fear is imaginary. Fear is not real. Fear is false evidence appearing real. When you think, your thought will help you dissolve it. You will see it's just mere fog. It's just mere smoke, right? But if you cannot think, then fear will have you, right? So thinking, having knowledge on the issue will deliver you from fear, whether irrespective of what that fear might be, And lastly, we have Frank Herbert, here says, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer, right? It says, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear, if you allow it, will deprecate your ability to think, your ability to reason, right? Your ability to use your conscious mind, right? Fear is a little that brings total obliteration, right? I will face my fear. I'll permit it to pass over me and through me. When it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to it to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there'll be nothing, only high will remain, right? So don't allow fear win over you, right? Gabrielle here also says, I choose to reinterpret my fears with a more loving perspective, right? We talk about reframing. Don't let fear overcome you. You overcome fear, right? Overcome fear with faith, overcome fear with love, overcome fear, with what you want, right? Don't let fear steal away your destiny. Don't let fear just steal away your dreams, hold on to your dreams, right? And hold on in faith, hold on in love, right? That is the way to have a good life. We're here to live a good life, not just live, not just exist, but to live a good life, to have a good success, right? To be happy, to have healthy, life-giving relationships with our spouse, our children, our parents, our siblings, our relations, and the general populace, right? That's why we're here. So let's fight together for this good life that we have the opportunity, the privilege of having, right? And I'm trying to be sure if I'm still recording. Yeah, I'm still recording. All right. So that's all I have for today. Again, I don't have any of my people here, so there's no question for me. But feel free to drop me a question if you have any on that which we have discussed. We've talked about fear, What are the fears in your life? Anything you want to share with me, anything you want us to discuss concerning the fears in your life. It could be any of the 10 that we've discussed or other ones, because 1,001 other type of fears other than this 10. These are kind of broad fears, but they could be broken down to smaller fears. So there's a fear in your life that you're struggling with, and you want us to share together and break it down. Feel free. You can come chat with me on the open forum, or you can come text me, DM me, text me on any of the social platforms where you can find me, and we can chat together and walk through the fear so that you can have the good life that God wants you to have. It's your right. It's your right. It's not a privilege. It's your right. You can have the good life. You came here to have a good life. God did not put you here to have a bad life. He brought you here to have a good life, to have a happy life. Ensure you get it. Don't let anybody steal that from you. All right. God bless you. Till next week, or when I come back again. Have a great week ahead, and enjoy a good life this week. God bless you. Bye-bye.